The Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources and Energy, together with police, have concluded a joint oversight visit to establish the facts surrounding the gang rape and robbery of the film crew in West Village in Krugersdorp recently. They were briefed on a range of issues, including the license of a mine dump where the incident occurred, to the impact of illegal mining. The chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, Sahlulele Luzipo, joins me now. Thank you very much. Good evening and welcome. You found that on the mine dump where these grotesque crimes occurred, that a license had been issued to a company by the name of Mogale Gold, whose right, we understand, is valid until 2029. Well, they had the operation suspended by the DMRE in 2018 because they were non-compliant with the mine work program. So the question is, what responsibility did the DMRE and the company have in ensuring that that site was not left to become a target of opportunistic mining?
Good evening to you and good evening to the viewers. That's precisely the issue that we have said. The department must give us a detailed report on the status of the mining right. When you say their operation was stopped, I think let's make it more complicated. The company was under business rescue from 2013, according to the report we received. And from that time, it did not go for for what is called for a liquidation. It used to have production that was not from their plant, but processing it as if it is a production from their plant. The department, according to their report, so for now, is that they then told them to stop that practice. Under normal circumstances, or what would have been an ordinary expectation, is that from that moment, it means that company acted contrary on the conditions of its mining right. And the question then we were asking to the department, which we hope finally they'll give an answer, was that why they didn't use the principle of use it or lose it. Because at that time, it was clear that the mine on its own, where it is, was not operational. That is why the status, even of that mining right, is highly questionable that it's still in possession of a mining right. The second thing is that in doing so, it actually meant now it created conditions for illegal mining activities to take place. But I want to say what makes matters more worse and more serious is that adjacent or a mining right, a company that also owns a mining right on what they call underground mining right, is that a former official of the department, we are now told is a consultant advisor to that company, which then makes us to ask a question: were the delays and the fact to act not informed by the interest of the official of the department, so that it can it assists and then goes on the other side to grab the opportunity?
Yeah.
So we'll try and wait for that detailed response, because honestly speaking, part of what they were saying, it absolutely didn't make sense. Even it's worse to somebody who wouldn't understand the intricacies of mining processes. It makes more of something that is more like a unbelievable story to take cognizance of.
All right, so I just want to ask then whether there was any illegal action or whether, clearly, as you described, there is illegal action that was being taken, fraudulent action, in fact, undertaken on the part of the company who was initially given that license. So that's on the one. Should there not have been fraud charges pressed against them? And on the second, DMRE's responsibility to kind of in the moment keep tabs on when these, when these operations are just being allowed to kind of languish.
Well, for now, let me say suspiciously, until they've given us that information, we'll then be able to move from an informed point of view. But yes, I will agree with you that it looks suspicious. It may not necessarily be fraud per se, because illegally, it's difficult to say they did what was not supposed to be. But quite honestly, in terms of being reckless and failure to do the basic things that will make that area to be a protected area is a matter of concern. But you'll also recall one of the things that we've said is a problem is that The issues that relate to the Companies Act are the ones also that compound the situation in the mining industry, where companies by application will apply for a mining right through the MPRDA, which is the Mineral and Petroleum Regulation. But when it comes to responding to challenges that they are faced with financially, they then resort to the Companies Act and apply the services of business rescue practitioners. And that's where then the problems start, because then the mines in most cases stay idle, or the proceedings of the mines are not necessarily identified as to where they are going. And that then becomes a seedbed for illegal mining activities.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much more to ask just about the viability of mines that are, ownerless. And this has been one of the complaints from the artisanal and small miners, to have access so that those portions and those tracts could become productive and could be a money-generating operation. But we don't have time to deal with that now. I think the final question to you will be the fact that you will be putting together a joint oversight report together with the Committee on Home Affairs and others. What recommendations, aside from the ones you've shared with me just now, will you be making?
Look, I think there are going to be a number of recommendations. For an example, if we want the police service to act effectively, I'm not saying they can't. We need also to ensure that there is enough resource. Let's treat the issue of illegal mining as a matter of national security. And I'm sure amongst other issues is that it may not be enough to go to one spot and then draw a conclusion. We may have to go and listen to many of the communities that are affected by illegal mining. Secondly, we have to look at what one suggests as conditional granting that is specifically focused on closing the relict and ownerless mine. According to the Mintech report presentation they made, is that with the current allocation that they are given to close the relict and ownerless mine, or in simple terms, disused mine, it will take them 17 years to close those. And I don't think we can say there's agency that can wait for 17 years. And therefore, conditionally, we say that there must be some resource allocation directed to the issue of closing derelict and ownerless mine. We need to ensure that there is tighter regulation on gold as a commodity, because it means we need to close the market, not necessarily the illegal activities of illegal miners, but it means there is a market, and that's the issue that we have to deal and close with in terms of the regulation. If it means we must follow the Kimberley process that was undertaken with regards to diamond, we say then so be it. Categorize the issue of gold as a strategic and a scarce resource, and therefore any individual who's found with gold must prove its originality. So there are quite a number of options that we may have to look at them.
A long road, it sounds like, still ahead of us. Thank you very much for your time. Chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Mineral Resources, Sahlulele Luzipo.